I promise y'all I'm gonna get right to the video, but I needed another cup of coffee. Lately I have been making instant coffee, this Cafe Bustelo, and it lasts for a while. Here come your good niece Taylor, but I'm gonna get with y'all in just a moment so I can sit down and talk to y'all. So hey y'all, welcome back to another video. It is Jatan with all things Jatan, and as you can tell by the title of my thumbnail, we are going to be talking about how I lost almost 85 pounds. I'm down to 83 pound loss, and it's been almost, I would say almost 2 years, because the scale wasn't moving. But before we start that, let's just talk about like my journey, and I'm gonna try to insert some pictures like the younger me, things of that nature, in this video as well, so you can see like the transformation over the years. So growing up, my mom and dad had myself and my older brother. My mom and dad divorced when I was younger. I didn't always see like the healthiest version out of both parents. I would say like the most active was my dad once we got older. I have a family that, you know, has some health issues on both sides. Like on my mom's side, it has some cancer related health issues. My dad's side, we have like diabetes and everything like that that runs in the family. So now that I'm a mom, a lot of things just like really wanted me to put my foot on the gas pedal and, you know, try to break some of those generational things that ran in our family. I would say that I, growing up, was very small, very petite, like very, 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 very skinny. And I also used to get like teased about it. Then once I got in high school, I started filling out a little bit. In high school, I worked 2 jobs. I went to school in Delaware called Hudson, which was a vocational school where you can go to school for a part of the day, then the other part you would be learning your trade. So majority of the time you were learning your trade, and I went for cosmetology. During the time that I was in high school, I also worked at the state hospital back home in Delaware, and I worked co-op. So I would leave school, I would go work at the hair salon, and then from, I forget what time it was, but I would be doing all of that. And I would say that if anybody has ever done hair or worked in a hair salon, you know that they are constantly, and let's just say we did not have the best eating habits. We would be ordering subs, cheesesteaks. We always had catering brought into the shop, things of that nature. But I was on my feet, so I never gained any weight. And even at the state hospital, I was always on my feet. I used to work in dietary. Oh, I'm taking it back. So it wasn't until I had graduated high school that I got a summer internship at in corporate America. I started working for a bank back in 2003, and my hours were 12 to 9, 12 in the afternoon to 9 at night. And when I tell y'all, my activity level slowed down tremendously. I would literally be exhausted trying to stay up, so I'll be eating like peanut M&Ms was like my favorite. I stayed at the vending machine because I didn't want to leave work to go get anything, but I still was like still not on the best of eating habits or whatever. So I gained a lot of weight. I always had and suffer from migraines or whatever, but with me just being at a desk job, the weight just started picking up on me or whatever, like. And I used to exert or act like I had a lot of confidence regarding that, because it never stopped me from attracting men or anything. And I just remember like running into somebody at the mall, and you know, once I ran into that person, it was a guy, I ran into that person, one of my really close friends came back to me and was like, oh, I seen such and such, and they was like, what, your time got pregnant or whatever, because she gained a lot of weight, and now that person big. So mind your business, okay? That's what I'm gonna say. But no, back on a positive note, yeah, I was like, no, I'm not pregnant, honey, I'm just big and like to eat or whatever. And I really didn't know where to start or like what journey to be on. So for me, like, my journey of weight gaining started way before I even had kids. And then, you know, I ended up having my daughter, my oldest, who is 13 now. And even things like, as far as like putting my weight on my driver's license was like hard for me. And I would be like, okay, well, let me go ahead and take her out for a walk, and then I would be exhausted. I wasn't ready to change, you know? So when the pandemic hit, I'm just like, I had already made a commitment to myself before I even knew that we were going to be tied down in the house. So I was like, okay, before I go ahead, because I did this thing to like where I would join the gym, you know, it's the beginning of the year, they had them deals, and I'm like, you know, you always start off strong, but you never stick with it. Anything you ever do, you never stick with it. Even with like my channel, I'm like, I'll be consistent for a minute and then I don't stick with it. So with that being said, I was just like, okay, you're not getting no gym membership this year if you can't be consistent at home. So I would cut on my YouTube and I would watch workout videos. I would watch videos of people walking at home and things of that nature. And the thing that helped me this time around was I was away from everything that was so draining to me. Like, when I tell you, when you have the opportunity to focus on yourself and you're normally like that go-to person, like that strong friend, like, I've never been like one to call on anybody. Like, I felt like whenever I would call on people, it was just like to vent, but I already know what to do with the information. But I was always that go-to person, and it was exhausting. And especially when you have the wrong people pulling you down. So when I came here, it was just like clean slate. You're going to get yourself together, like rebranding yourself pretty much. Now you have an opportunity to just focus on yourself. Like, you can't sit up there and be everybody's superhero while it's draining and depleting you. So when I got here, let's throw out some numbers. So the highest I've ever been was like 289 or whatever. And for some reason, I could not get past 235. So one of the things that I knew off the bat that I had an issue with was drinking enough water. I hated having my days interrupted to be running to the bathroom, things of that nature. So I started off small. I was like, okay, let's get consistent. Let's get consistent with working out at home. Let's get consistent with drinking enough water. And now I'm no longer stress eating. So let's try out this intermittent fasting. And the easiest thing for me was the 16-8 method, where you fast for 16 hours and then you have an 8-hour window. And when I would fast for 16 hours, the majority of the time was spent during my sleeping time. So majority of the time was spent during my sleeping. Then I would get up around like 9 or 10 or whatever, and then I would have my first meal. Not necessarily get up at that time, and that was like really working for me. Like, I found that when I would fast for that amount of time, I would be getting up and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. And then I'd take like 4 or 5 bites and be full so fast. And I'm like, the food is so good. Like, I don't want to stop eating. So intermittent fasting really helped me with my relationship with food. Like, even though I would just be hungry, I'm like, can you hold off? Can you drink some water? And I would use the app that I put in my last video called Fast Easy. And it would give you like different reminders of like the best time to walk, the best time to do different things. It will remind you like, hey, your blood sugar is dropping. If you're hungry, drink some water, things of that nature. And that really was like imperative to me, because when you're busy and you're taking care of kids, you're working, or whatever it is you have on your agenda, to have that little reminder throughout the day that's going to push you. So when I would get those reminders saying, hey, drink your water, or, you know, it's time for this, it's time to break your fast, it, like, sometimes I would go way over what my fast was just because I would not be hungry. So it's like identifying those times, like, okay, what is making you want certain things? What is making you binge eat? Like, having things prepared. I know a lot of people, like, I've seen a lot of other people journeys, and that has also helped motivate me on my own weight loss journey, was to see if somebody else can do it, then I can do it. Like, it's definitely motivational to have other people share their story, their testimonies, especially if they're doing intermittent fasting or something similar to you. So with that being said, it's just like, yeah, but they have all the time in the world. And it's not always that life is easier for them. It's just that, how bad do you want it? You get what I'm saying? So that was like one of the things that stuck out in my head as well. Like, I'm not going into another year not feeling my best self. I'm not going into another year of not completing my goals. Like, everything when it came to school, buying my houses, things like that, I've been able to do. But when it came down to that work on the inside, your girl struggled. Your girl struggled big time up until recently. Like, I got on the scale this morning, y'all, and I ain't gonna do this. I'm not. I literally almost cried, because another thing that I started doing was giving myself small goals. Like, one goal would be, okay, your goal this month might be to lose 5 pounds. Your goal this week might be to lose 4 pounds. My last goal that I set for myself was to lose 8 pounds, and this 8 pounds would have got me down to 200, which I have not seen in the longest time, you know. So when I got on the scale this morning, your girl was 203. 203, y'all. 203. And I'm gonna post a picture here, and don't talk about me, because your girl been in the house. I ain't got my toes done, nothing like that. But the fact of the matter is, I'm 3 pounds away from being 200. You get what I'm saying? So, and no, you don't want to get obsessed with the scale, but it's like, when you see your work working, it's like a mind-blowing experience. And like, this is another thing. Like, my kids were able to see me graduate. My kids have traveled and gone on vacation with just it being us. Like, now I'm on my health journey, and these are habits and things that my kids are gonna have for them, you know what I mean? And I don't want to make it like a punishment or anything like that. Like I said, if I'm craving chips or chocolate, it's,
I don't want.
Y'all, the thing is, I'm no longer overindulging. So I've done low carb, I've done keto, I've done intermittent fasting and all of that, and I feel like now I'm to the point to where I'm incorporating all of that. It takes 21 days to form a habit, and that's for most people, but it definitely was not that for me. I'm glad, you know, that I did it slow and steady, because I could really learn my body, learn my process. So although I may have been inspired by other people's journey, you still got to take what you can get and incorporate it into your own. I've done Herbalife, and things like that are super expensive, especially when you're the only one practicing it. I've lost weight, I've had success, but what can I do that is going to give me long-term results, that's going to help me and my children, things of that nature? And that has been like me sticking to a calorie deficit. That has been my intermittent fasting. That has been us getting outside, going walking, walking around the neighborhood, you know, things of that nature. I recently just said that I wanted to start toning up, and I immediately got anxiety, just because, you know, sometimes when you're strength training and all that, the scale will go back up. So I'm like, okay, get to this place just so that you know you did it. You get what I'm saying? Like, not that I need validation from anybody else, but just, it's one of the things that I have on my to-do list, on my checkbox. And then I'm gonna start incorporating that. Even during the day, sometimes I get up and I'll do at least 3 miles in the house, and I'll attach some links if I can remember. By me editing this video, I should remember. I'm gonna put some links in here, some videos that you can do for walking at home if you're not comfortable with that, or being outside and in public or whatever. There's really no excuses, Jatan, and I'm talking to myself again, for you not to be hitting these different milestones and marks on your goal. And I just feel like, you know, I gave up drinking. I'll do a social cocktail if I'm out and about, but it's not something I go to. It's not something I gravitate. I still struggle with drinking a lot of water, and to help me with that, I usually add like the water enhancers. If it's during my time of me fasting, I'll try to get the ones that have like zero calories, so that I'm not breaking my fast prematurely. Another thing that I've recently started doing that I noticed has helped make the scale go down as well has been to do my workout during my fast. And again, the Fast Easy app is something that I love for the simple fact it'll tell me, okay, go hard during these times. Like, it'll tell me when I'm in my fat burning stage, and it'll tell me to do like moderate to high intensity workouts. If it's during a different stage of my fast, then it'll tell me, you know, do light exercise and stuff like that. So the fact that I'm already in a fasted state and I'm burning, I noticed that has been helping my scale out a lot as well. And then the last other thing that I recently started doing and noticed that it has been helping me is every night before bed, I have a cup of chupapanza, I hope I'm saying that correctly, tea. And I found this tea on like a Facebook ad that was coming up from like Amazon, and it had like pineapple ginger, and I'm like, that sounds like it may be a good tea or whatever. And like one side is in Spanish, the other side is in English or whatever. So TikTok has really become like my Google. So when I seen the tea, I was just like, okay, let me see, has anybody else heard about this tea? And a lot of people were saying like they've done like challenges to where they would use the like 7 pounds in a week or whatever. And from what I understand, it really will help people go to the bathroom. So if you get this tea, I'm gonna put the description, I'm gonna put a link for you to find it on Amazon down in the description box. Do it like on a weekend, do it at night to like where you go in the morning, because it's not like, one thing I can say is I've used Smooth Move before, and that hurts my stomach so bad. Like, it will cramp up everything. Smooth Move, I mean, Chupapanza does not do that. So I feel like I'm doing something good for myself, and I don't add anything to it. I just keep the tea bag in there, run my hot water in my kettle, and pour it on my tea bag for a couple minutes, let it sit until I'm able to drink it, sip it throughout the night. It helps me sleep good at night, and it has been dropping the pounds. So I hope that this video has been like an inspiration to somebody. I'm still on my journey. I still have a long ways to go, and this is a lifestyle. Like, I felt like once I really understood, because every time I started over, I would say, you know, this is a lifestyle, this is something that I'm going to be committed to, I would stop and, you know, gain all the weight back. But this time around, I really feel like it's okay to rest. It's okay to take like those breaks in between, but you got to get back to it. Oh, and I did forget, y'all, let me just show y'all better than, look at my wrist. I wear this watch every single day. Like, I get up and I wear this watch every single day because I'm a visual person. So when I say I burn between like 400 to 600 calories in one workout, I have a visual. You know, I push myself like, like, you know, and especially because a lot of times with me being a homebody, I'm just sitting there. Like, I'm sitting there, I might be watching a show, watching YouTube. You could be working out during these times. That's what I would tell myself, you know. So, yeah, like, these are all the things that have helped me on my journey. If you are on a journey, if you have any goals that you have in mind, let's do it together. I'm not going into 2023 the same as I was 2022, 2021, and prior. I definitely feel like it has strengthened my kids and my relationship. Like my daughter Jordan said to me today, she gonna say, Mom, I seen old pictures of you and you look good, Mom. Like you doing a really good job. And that's just very inspiring, because like I said, not that I need validation for anybody, but my kids know how hard I go for them, and I just need to be going as hard for myself. So again, if you want to stay tuned for this journey, I'm going to be transparent. Y'all going to see me ugly, cry. Y'all didn't see me cry a couple times, but I just, like I said before, wanted to share this with you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment box down below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because we're taking off.